Hey you guys, it's Rachel here. I decided to do an impromptu live stream. Sorry you guys. No matter what I do sometimes, this thing is just gonna do what it wants to do. Alrighty. Alright, so hello Scott. Can you guys hear me? Okay. Perfect. All right. Yeah, we're just getting started, y'all. I know it's a weekday, so I don't expect it's late. I didn't let anybody know, and it's a weekday, so I don't expect to get a ton of people on the stream. But it's raining here, and I couldn't do a video of the dogs or anything, and so I figured, you know what? Let's do some research. So I will allow for other questions once we're like done with this part. That way, if you want to talk about things that are off topic, we can definitely do that. But let's get through some of what we're going to talk about today first. And that way, in the future, if people are looking for this information, then they can get to it, and then we can have our moment at the end. So yeah. So basically, what we're doing today is a continuation of the research that I've been doing into the early foundation restoration lines within the Corso. And last time we covered the Deldrium lines, which is through Vito and Deviri. Now we're going to be talking about the Cerberus lines. And so Cerberus lines are very influential, but they are different. And so basically, I was talking with my mentor, and I want to learn more about this stuff in particular. And don't forget, you guys, if you like the stream, give it a like, please. It helps to move things along, and leave a little comment. But so basically, so many people know the beginning of the breed. A lot of people dedicate to this gentleman by the name of Dr. Berber. And to some extent, there's a lot of truth in that. So basically, he was a scientist, more of like a researcher type guy, knew about this breed and tried to kind of create an effort to save the breed by having a bunch of having all those breeders work together, and also to breed for a standard and to create a standard. And so I believe Morsani was the one who was going around taking all the measurements and doing all that stuff with the dogs. And thank you, Cerberus. Let me see. Curious. Would it theoretically be cost effective to keep female dogs physically, but only the genetic material of the male dogs? So that's yes. A lot of breeders do that. It's something that I've started to do because I have, I'm only me, you know what I'm saying? And so it is something that I've started to do, where if a male isn't like really super like the creme de la creme, I don't need him to be on my property to be able to use him. Females, obviously, I do, but males, I don't need to have on my property for them to be able to be an asset to my breeding program. So the answer to that is yes. Um, so let's see here. So Morsani and Dr. Berber are the ones that they would have these dog shows, and they would teach people how to breed the dogs to the standard. And Morsani went, and he's the creator of the Morsani standard, where there's all the measurements of the dogs. Now, then there were the collectors and exhibitors, right? These are the kind of like breeders like us. So and there was the Anna Battaglia and Giancarlo Malvasi, which is Cerberus. I believe it was Malvasi, and then they got married, and now they're just Cerberus. And then there was also Vito and Deviri, and there are more, but we'll get into them later. So right now we're talking about Anna Battaglia. Now, aside from them, there were the original, like the people who had the dogs, right? The farmers, okay? Not the enthusiasts, just people that had the dogs. And one of those breeders was Mergese, and they were one of the suppliers of the farm dogs. And I believe that he was one of the ones where these dogs come from. So one of the things that they were known for, the Cerberus dogs were known for, was the Mergese lines were working farm dogs with like longer muzzles, and they were taller and leaner. And they that did change. That did change a little while after. Hey there, Reese. But nonetheless, that's what, and we'll see that when we look at the dogs. Also, it's my understanding that they did not like each other, which honestly, I mean, this is one of the things that I'm going to say, is that one of the things that seems to have always stayed the same is that breeders don't like each other. And I guess it's weird to me because it feels counterproductive. Like maybe we should like each other because we have to work together. But it seems to be something that's always been the case. And while I can, like, this is what I'll say is I come from pit bulls, right? And it's if you really do some research into pit bulls, a lot of, you couldn't trust the old pedigrees because those people didn't want you to know what they had done, because they were very competitive, right? They were competitors of one another, and they didn't want each other to know what their kind of quote unquote recipe was. So pedigrees often could not be relied upon to be accurate. And so this is what I'm going to say, because I've been looking at this stuff. I've been looking at these, and I was talking with one of my mentors about it earlier, and we were kind of speculating and whatnot, right? And so this is a lot of Cerberus lines come back to this stuff, right? And this is what created Bazir, all right? This stuff here. Now, it's hard for some people to believe that these dogs, right? Like this dog right here, that this dog that looks kind of like a Doberman, that dog and this dog, Marak, and, created all these dogs together, create this. You know what I mean? It's just even here, right? The Duano, right? Duano's a better example. He is breed type. You know what I mean? He's got mass. He's a thicker dog. This is what I think is possible. I'm speculating here, okay? I think that, so because of the fact that this whole breeding pedigree thing was, and also I want to say that my mentor told me that a lot of these early dogs, like this dog here, Bazir, like a lot of these early dogs didn't have anything behind them in the pedigrees originally, and then it was added later. Now, And like even Redico, I mean, you can see Redico is a very nice dog, fantastic breed type. And so it's hard for some people, to believe that even Bulan had really fantastic breed type. See there? Really fantastic breed type. And you've got it in Duano. And I believe Bulan was the brother of Bazir. Wasn't he? Brothers and sisters. Yeah, Bazir right here. See, fantastic breed type. So, and Claus was a really nice dog too. There's Claus. And so you see this fantastic breed type here, right? It's so consistent for generations. But where did it come from? You know what I'm saying? Like, it didn't come from here. Maybe here. Didn't come from here. Didn't come from here. Man, I don't know. We were discussing it, and I do feel like Marak may have been involved, because if you really look closely, the breed type's not horribly off here. It's not horrible. But this is my hypothesis. I could totally be wrong. All right, this is complete, theory, right? I'm wondering if maybe these old farmer type, right? Because if we go back to the story that Vito and Deviri was talking about with the old farmers and stuff, that you couldn't even buy their dogs, right? You couldn't even buy them, and he had to work really hard to get them to trust him enough to even let him have some and use their dogs. And so I'm thinking, especially because Reese could tell you, we were in Italy for a while, and one of the things I noticed about the Italians, they're a little uppity. And I just wonder if maybe they were just as secretive as a lot of the game dog men in with the pit bulls, and they didn't want everyone knowing what was behind those dogs. They didn't want everyone knowing what dogs they had and what dogs they were using and this and this and that. And so maybe this hypothesis, maybe these dogs are not the dogs that are actually responsible for these dogs. You know what I mean? And maybe those old farmers were just like, no, you can't, you can't. And so it starts to get honest here, right? Because these guys are these guys are the show breeders. These are the guys that that this is, before that there were no pedigrees, because nobody was keeping any track like that. It wasn't there was no standard. And so the breeders themselves probably kept their own pedigrees, whether they be mental or written down or whatever. But as far as like what we have here, I don't think that existed. And I guess because there was question about how did we get from here, all of this, immediately to this, immediately to that, and then it breeds true. And it's like, if it breeds true here, because the thing about it is it's extremely hard it takes years of breeding for a specific type to have consistent type. Even within purebred dogs, there will be some lines that have, like, when you're looking at their dogs, and like, for example, Alcor is like that in our breed. Alcor breeds very true. I may not like what they look like, but the reality is that they breed true. And you can, when you're looking at one, you know what I'm saying? And so it doesn't have to be like a different breed per se. Like, even within individual lines, they can have definitive breed type that makes it identifiable as not just the breed that it is, but the lines that it comes from. Obviously we looked at Deldrium, very, very much like that. Now I will say though that, like, correct breed type, I mean, Duano could have easily been a Deldrium dog. This dog Bulan could have been a Deldrium dog. Bazir could have been a Deldrium dog, right? So that's something to think of. But anyway, but having said that, so these Cerberus lines, one of the things that I noticed is, and this is one of the things, if you listen to that Mariano De Chico interview, he talks about the fact that Deldrium was known for having the best breed type. And there were other breeders that were known for having other things. And I don't remember what he said about Cerberus, but if I have heard from others that they were really great working lines, right? And so maybe they didn't have the best breed type, but they had really good working lines. So this is how we're going to look for these dogs, because there's so many dogs under Cerberus. And when you look under the kennel name, you can't find, so like, for example, which is something that would be really cool if they could do. But like, let's say, for example, you go to Donald, which is a pretty famous dog through them. And let's say that you go to the owner breeder here. If I look on this list, which is very long, it's extremely long, that there's no pictures. Normally there's a little camera that lets me know if there's a picture. And I am not about to go through every single one of those and try to find each and every one of them that has a picture. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here. I'm going to, this is the database. I'm going to view search Corso, and I'm going to search here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for the ones that have the picture here. Okay. And so we're going to click on it. Now, preferably, I want to look at dogs that are older initially. So, because we want to try to look back. So this is 2004. And I don't believe these are in any kind of order. Here we have 1998. That's older. But let's see how old we can go. We could just expand a pedigree, but I'd like to actually look at a couple of these first and make sure that we're getting everything that they go back to. So 2002, there's a lot of Cerberus dogs. And even current ones, I think more so than Deldrium from what I've seen. But that makes sense because Deldrium, he quit breeding, you know what I mean? He stepped out, and these guys didn't. Let's see here. And another thing we were talking about too is how the breed type, how it changed just in the small amount of time that Vito wasn't breeding anymore, even within his own lines. And I was looking on his page today, on his Facebook page, and he is really producing just, I mean, it's shocking how easy it is for him to pick it back up again. He's clearly able to see something that we're all missing. He knows what to select for. He's truly got a gift of a real genuine gift. I just wish that he would use it to help people, because I've never once seen him ever make any kind of post about trying to educate people on how to select better breed type. And I wish I could pick his brain. He doesn't speak any English though, but I have heard that you can, like, he will talk to people. You know what I mean? He will talk to people. And I don't know, maybe nobody's really asked him. He's never volunteered it, but I don't know that anyone's ever sat down and asked him either. But I'll tell you what, if we go back to Italy, which Reese and I've been wanting to go, if we go back, I'm going to see if somebody can't be a translator for us so that I can ask him. Good Lord, there's like no pictures of anything. I mean, there is, but not for what I'm seeing right here. Let's go back to this 98 dog. So anyway, so there's nothing that I've seen so far where he talks about how he selects for breed type, but it's an art, and sometimes it helps to have a little guidance, and I would love to pick his brain, because he's doing it. If you look at his thing, he's doing it. He's very quickly and easily bringing back his breed type, and we've all been struggling for years, and he's just like picking it right back up again. he's got a true gift. I would just love to understand his process. All right, so for contrast, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up one of the other pedigrees that we were looking at. There we go. Let's go to Plud. Well, no, not Plud. Let's go to Vito. Let's look at Aaron. Master Deldrium. Open sesame. It says it's too much information. Okay, here we go. All right, so go back. And then we can bring it down. So as we talked about before, here we got Pled and David, Quayron. But you can see here, and you'll see, pay attention to this, right? This is similar. This is all the same stuff that you're even going to see in Cerberus, but not all of it will be. Not all of it will be. But you can see here that they basically all started with the same fundamental stuff. Let's go down. So here we go. And as I told people, this is why once you open these up, I'm probably going too fast for you guys. I've looked at all this so many times that I can go through it quickly. But there's Seda, Quasar, David, Seda. We have to go back some more, but it's the same stuff even back behind here. David, Seda, Plud, which we already looking at. Seda, Otello, which is off that same really early stuff here. Here's Otello again. I'll show you. Which is off. See, here's off the Elsa, the Leona. See that same stuff there. And let's see here. We can even go back here. So here's some different, a little bit different stuff. Let's go. Let's open it up. Yeah. Yep. So there we go. So it goes back to that stuff. So it's all either unknown or it's this Otello, Guapo, Leon, or the Duano, Marak, Aliat. It's all the same stuff, okay? And that's why you really got to be careful when you're breeding these dogs, when you think you're line breeding, and you're actually breeding way too close. Now, I do want to show you one thing. I want to show you Preacher's pedigree. I'm going to open that up. And let's go back in here. You can see Preacher's got a very diverse group of heavy hitters in his pedigree. Like heavy hitting of dogs. So here we've got the David, Plud. You got the Unknown. We've got the Leona, the Bruno, the Elsa, Duano. And we've got different sides of it. He's got the Cano. There's just more diversity here in the lines than what you'll see in some of the other pedigrees that we're looking at. See, like this here, this is all outcross, which is really good. And over here, all this stuff here, this is all different. This is all outcross here. Saddam, you don't see him very often. He's another dog that is at the end of some pedigrees, but not all. Um, and then here's some more of that other stuff as well. But anyway, and even back in here, so all of this too. So here's it goes back to Saddam and over here. So all of this stuff is diversity that you actually do not see in a lot of pedigrees. And it's a big reason why I decided, I'm sorry, I'm just skipping on through it all. It's a big reason why I decided to start to use him a lot more, because he has diversity in his pedigree that a lot of dogs do not have. You know what I mean? They all go back to the exact same stuff, and Preacher doesn't. And so that's really cool. And in fact, a lot of the American bred European stuff is like that. It goes back to stuff that, so apparently I was talking to my mentor, and apparently he said that those breeders didn't like each other, and so they didn't do breedings with one another, and that's why that diversity isn't there, because they didn't like to work together. Now, so this, I'm going to show you some Cerberus dogs and to show you an example of the difference. Now, one of the things that I want to say is that it is well known that in Italy there was some mixing that was happening, right? Whether that was for genetic diversity or whether it was to size up the dogs, we don't know. I would guess that it's genetic diversity, because it was well known that there. I mean, you can look at the pedigrees and see that there were not a lot of dogs available, right? So if there were more, dogs out there, I think that they would be using them. I do think that there has always been help from dogs that have come up out of nowhere, like as far as like farms and stuff like that had good breed type that were allowed to come in, which is why you'll see that unknown behind the dog. And I believe even whenever Reese and I were in Italy, they were still doing that, where you could bring a dog up that would be graded, and if it was, if they believed it was pure Corso, it could get papers. And so I think that when you're dealing with a breed that was almost extinct, you kind of do have to be that way. You really can't be so close-minded and judgmental as to not utilize any of these dogs. And I will say that scientifically, what has been shown about the Neapolitan Mastiff and the Cane Corso is that they come off of a common ancestor. So they have genetic relatedness, but not in the sense that they were ever the same dog, and not in the sense that one comes from the other, but that they both come off of a common ancestor, and each have different things mixed into them to make them what they are. And I think that that's something that is very important. I think it's possible, and this is complete theory on my end as far as the Neo is concerned, but I think that the Neo was probably bred to something heavier, more wrinkly, when it was more of maybe like a Mastiffy type dog. And the Corso, we do know, had some Sighthound put in. I think that they were bred to be a lighter, more agile working dog. And the Sighthound thing I had always speculated on, and Mariano De Chico actually confirmed this in his interview with Gladiatora Cane Corso. So that's not theory. That's actually been confirmed. And some people would call that kind of dog what's called an Elant. And so I think that these lines, these Cerberus lines, in my opinion, they seem to be, to me, more of like a Neo type influenced dog from what I've seen. They started off very similar to the other dogs, in the sense that, like I said, Duano, looks the way he does. Claus looks the way he does. Max, you have Tuareg, which actually produced Jador, which Jador actually has very good breed type. And so there are dogs in there that have good breed type, and then you have these other dogs that honestly look like they could be in an American pedigree. And so like here, like Paco, for example, Paco to me looks to have Neo influence. I'm just being honest. I could be completely wrong, and that's fine, but to me this dog looks like he's got some Neo influence. You can see this, the length, the kind of the looseness here. You can just kind of see it in it almost looks like this dog has like a bit of like that callousness, like the thickness, like there's just something about this dog's appearance to me that just doesn't, he looks to have a neo influence to me. Now, like I said, we know that there was neo brought in. It's widely been rumored that Conan had neo in him. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know if any of these dogs do. But what I can tell you is that you know is that that's what they look like to me. This looseness here in the face here, long muzzle, and so anyway, so the thing about it is that it's not something that was lied about. I mean, it is my understanding this is pretty much accepted common knowledge that they did utilize some mixing in the lines. And what I will say is that sometimes I like just looking at dogs. I wish I could get a better picture of that dog. So I'm going to tell you guys a story about a study that I just read about these dogs. It's called the puffin dog. So basically there's this breed of dog that's almost extinct, and they were used to hunt puffins, and they have these extra toes on their feet, and it allows them to get up in between the rocks and all that stuff. And so these dogs are obviously going extinct because nobody's hunting puffins anymore. But there's these people that are trying to save the puffin dog. And so what they're doing is they tested the dogs genetically, found out what the dogs were most closely related to, and they're doing these breedings where they're taking a dog that is from a closely related line, and they're breeding it to a puffin's dog, and then they're keeping back the puppies that have the puffin dog traits. Okay. And so what they're doing is they're selecting based on phenotype. Phenotype is the way the animal looks, distinguishing external features. And so by doing that, because this is the thing about genetics, if you take a bulldog and you breed it to a pug, each of those puppies is not 50% bulldog and 50% pug. That's not the way that it works. Each of those puppies is going to get a variation of those genetics. Okay. And so when you select back from that litter of puppies, if you select back, it's particularly if you were able to genetically test all of those dogs and select back the animals that have the highest genes for the breed that you're trying to save, you can actually breed them responsibly. You can breed them in a way that you're creating genetic diversity while still maintaining a majority genetic pure animal in a way. I mean, obviously it's not pure, but it would be much more so than if you did not keep based upon the dogs that had the highest percentile of the blood you're trying to preserve. And now, obviously, back then they did not have genetic testing. And so one of the ways that you would do that is you would do that with your selection process. So choosing back dogs that resemble the breed type that you are trying to preserve. And the problem is that not every breeder has the same priorities. Not every breeder has the same preferences. And so you're going to get a wide array of expression based upon those external selection parameters, right? So, for example, like this dog right here, Elsa, doesn't really have like the best breed type. I'm just gonna be honest. Like that's no Deldrium dog right there, right? But the reality of the situation is that they exist and they are there. And while some people might want to say, "Ooh, is that a mixed breed dog?" Well, the reality of the situation is that we don't know that, because it could very well be bad selection process. Because as we know, when we saw Deldrium and him stop breeding, the dogs changed, right? The breed type started to suffer a bit because he was not the one behind that selection process. And so very much like in the same way that an artist has a signature, a specific look, breeders are going to have that as well. And that's why not all breeders are created equal. Look at that. Beautiful dog. So, anyway, so back to Cerberus. So I wanted to basically talk about that because that's one of the things that I personally noticed when I was going through these dogs is I was just kind of like, the breed type seems to kind of be a little all over the place sometimes. And you know, and like this, I like this is a good dog. But like, for example, that other dog, let's go back over here. That other dog that we were looking at was not really my cup of tea. But let's go back over here. Let's look at Donald, because he actually has a lot of really pretty dogs in his pedigree that I like. And so the thing about it is like, I don't have a lot of Cerberus in my lines. And based upon what I've been looking at, I mean, I can see why. It looks like the dogs. Where is he? A, B, C, D. Degas, Dante, Divna, Donald. Here we go. I think they have multiple entries. Okay. So here's Donald, really pretty dog. You know, he's got good breed type. Whew. Preacher, you have got some gas, my boy. Ugh. Is this the pedigree? Yeah, it has got Redigo in it. And let's open up. You know what I should have done? Let's go back real quick. And let's do this where I open this up in a new tab. There we go. Desmo, let's look at this dog. Jesus, dude, go away, stinky butt. For real, go. Preacher, literally, go. Because your butt is not, no sir, go. Out. Preacher. Take your stanky butt and go downstairs. Go. Now. Cochino, go. Okay. Sorry, you guys. Alrighty. So this is, I think, is a good example. We were looking at those Deldrium lines, and this right here is a heavier bone dog, more substance, more mass, a different look to the head too. Just gonna be honest with you, it has a more mastino look, and I think that the Deldrium dogs look a little cleaner. It's my understanding too that these are much larger dogs. Then I thought the Deldrium dogs were decently sized. Like, I mean, but my mentor was telling me that they really don't compare. So let's look at Conan, because he's also no. So, and I believe that actually, you know how we can find him? Advanced info. He's a number one stud, male with the highest number of children. Here we go, Dadani Conan. So, and he's off Paco. And I think there was, like I said, there was speculation that this dog was a Neo, that he had Neo in him, but I mean, judging by Paco, you know what I mean, I would say probably. I don't think that he himself was the cross. You know what I mean? And it very well could be. The thing about it is that's tough is, like, you know, a lot of people want to say, well, does the dog have Neo? But the question is what if he doesn't have Neo? What if he's just a line of early Corso that didn't have the influence of, like, they didn't do the breeding with the sight hounds, like, say, maybe some other people did. You know what I mean? And so it's kind of hard to speculate in that way. You know what I mean? Because what we do know is when these dogs were genetically tested, they did not, it's not like they came up as like these neo mixes. You know, they grouped as a breed scientifically. One of the things that a lot of people miss about that study that I always post is that it very clearly states that the Corso were a clade, a genetic, and a clade is just a genetic group of animals that are genetically the same, whereas the Americans dogs did not group as a clade, and so not even as a breed. So it's kind of like one of those things where in one way you want to say like, well, it looks like this, it looks like that, but what we do know is that they come off of a common ancestor. We know that the dogs were farm dogs. We know that they were different in different regions, and so it does make sense that there would be variation, and there's some would be heavier than others. So I don't necessarily know that, you know, what I will tell you is that the breed type just isn't there in the same way. You know what I mean? It's just not. Like it's not, but they were not known for that. And that's something I think is really important to realize is that these dogs are not really known for that. Does it mean that they're not Corso? No, it doesn't mean that at all. But it's, you know, usually when you hear about the best breed type, most people are talking about Deldrium dogs. That's not bad. That's not bad. And so some of them are not bad. But anyway, but this is just, you know, this is just another example of the diversity within the breed, and the why we don't have fantastic head types everywhere, why the Deldrium head isn't just everywhere, why it's kind of almost a hot mess. Like when you're looking at a Labrador, you pretty much know what you're looking at, you know what I mean? And it's just been it's just been panned out, lined out, you know what I mean? Even back in the 70s, because I was just doing some research. I was just looking to see, look at that. That's because like cashmere. And so it's it's one of those things where I was looking at the boxers from the 70s. I was looking at the 77, right? Back whenever these dogs were a hot mess, right? This is back when Alliot, those original dogs, right? And I was looking at the boxers, and even in the 70s, the boxers all looked exactly the same. You know what I mean? You knew a boxer when you saw a boxer. And see, that's not bad. And I'm trying to look at dogs that are more recent. Oh, that was a 1998. I shouldn't have looked at that one. Here we go. This one's not bad. I looked at this one earlier. That's not bad. It's a bit round, you know what I mean? But still, it's not horrible. But anyway, I think it just goes to show how kind of like early we are on working on things. And if that dog had ears, that actually wouldn't didn't have ears, that actually wouldn't look bad. But I think it just goes to show why it is so difficult, and why we need to be working so hard to try to get our breed type, together. And see, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. Some of them, the ears throws it off, and I think that's why we all need to work together. I guess I was so surprised to hear how common it is that breeders don't like each other. See, that's an early dog. 2002. Yeah, I mean, it's just not there. I mean, I wish there were. I will say there's not a lot of pictures, and so that sucks. See, there's another one. It's just different. You know what I mean? It's just different. These dogs are much more mastino. There really hasn't been the it doesn't look like the effort that's been put in, and I just think there's different influences too. Like um it's interesting. It's very interesting. So, cuz like I said, it all started the same way. And I think that's what's like um interesting to me is like Retico, Bulan, Duono, that's all good Corso there. And you know, maybe there was some mixing that happened, and the selection process just wasn't the reasons for the selection process may not have been the same. You know what I mean? Like people who preference working lines, working temperaments are always going to have different looking dogs than people who are preferencing like, you know, breed type over, you know, over workability. And and maybe that's what it is. But we go from these dogs that really look um very similar. You know what I mean? One of the things I always look at is I look for right here. See how tight this dog's skin is? Even though, see, Corso should be loose here. They have that. They have got the dewlap, right? They should be loose there. Um, but what gets me is when you get looseness in other areas of the body. Like, see, that's not hanging off the body there. Still a big dog. You can tell that it's a Mastiff. You can't really see anything on Duono here. Not really. No, you can't really see anything there. Let's keep going down. Leon. Yeah, tight skin on the body. Leggy. It just look like dogs that can work. They don't look overdone. They never look soft. Let's see Plud here. See how it's tight? Just tight. Skin's tight. It forms to the hip. And I think that's what like throws me off about some of the other ones is when they don't do that. When there is that. Let's see if this dog has it. It's a female. Well, it's a female. She's had babies. Can't judge that. I don't know. So anyway, I don't know. Like I said, we can speculate all we want. There's really no way to know. The reality of the situation is that there's never a way to know, particularly when you're dealing with dogs that have relatedness in the past. There's no way to know, are we seeing these neo type features in some of these dogs because there's neo in them, because somebody reintroduced neo into them, or are we simply seeing it because the breeder who was breeding these dogs selected for that when it popped up? You know what I mean? Like, because you know, if it's even possible for it to be in there from that old relatedness, then you know, are we seeing it just from selection? And it's easy to point a finger and say you mixed, but it's not that simple. it doesn't, it not in real life. It's not that simple. Um, and so anyway, so I'm not, like I said, I am not as familiar with these lines because I don't have a lot of these lines in my dogs. I do have some. I have a lot. Everybody's got a lot of Conan, but a lot of people will say have Conan. He was a very popular dog, and I have Paco in there as well. Um, in Preacher's Pedigree, just want to see that dog, 1993. And so I think a lot of it is just preference, like what people preference. But regardless, the early on dogs had that type. Even Cerberus had that type. Bazir, Bulan, Duano, they had that type, and then over time, it seems to have faded. And I mean, it just, it probably faded for various reasons. I don't know what those reasons are. Um, it very well could be that it just, like, I mean, I'll be honest with you, I can breed a body for sure, but like trying to figure out how to breed a head like a Deldrium head, like a Bazir head, like a Duano head, that is very hard to do. And part of the reason that I've been bringing you guys on this like journey with me through these pedigrees is that I want to kind of show you guys what's in these pedigrees and like why when you look, like, so for example, I was over at Reese's house and we were looking at, I think I had brought some dogs over and we were like looking at the dogs, and it just kind of dawned on me how drastically different. Like if you didn't know the breed, right? You're just a layman's and you saw Blondie and then you saw, Achilles or Madmortigan, you would not think they were the same breed. That's how drastically different they look from one another. And yet they are the same breed. And that same difference in type is represented in these pedigrees. And it's like a bunch of fumbling about. You know what I mean? Everybody's fumbling about trying to get back to, not everybody's trying to get back to that, because not everybody, like, it took me so many years to get familiar enough with these pedigrees for me to feel confident enough that I could even speak on them. And what I can say is it's a story as old as time. There are multiple elements that are going to affect the way dogs look. One, personal preference. A lot of breeders are going to choose dogs based upon the way that they think they should look. Some breeders will choose based upon what they believe they should be, right? Obviously, Vito had a very specific idea in his mind of what the Corso should look like. And that idea is clearly based in reality, because we see those dogs from the very earliest dogs. We see that type. Even before they were his lines, we see that type. Even dogs that were not even used in his own pedigrees have that type. So it's not, he didn't do it. He didn't create it, right? We know that, but we do know that he was the best at reproducing it. And I wish that he would teach us how to identify and select for the traits necessary to preserve the head type back in the breed. Because to me, that head is the most beautiful. It's the most iconic. It's the most refined and the most recognizable. It's noble. It's beautiful. And I just think that it's by far the best head that the breed has to offer. The Bazir head, the Duano head, the I don't even like Plud's head. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like Plud is not. It's okay, you know what I mean. He's okay, but that's not my favorite. Like that's not my favorite Derium head, you know. And so I just wish that he would help us with that, because there are other elements. Like one of the things that I like about Cerberus is that, you know, like I believe that a lot of the size that we have, like for example, I do have a lot of Cerberus in my Sanguine Magnifica stuff. Okay. A lot of people want to talk a lot of crap about Sanguine Magnifica without ever even researching the pedigrees, and I'll show you guys. They act like let's see here. Let's do Murano. Hopefully I didn't butcher it. I did. I butchered it. Murano. Let's just do this and then we'll pick it up because. All right. So, how did I not spell that right? Somebody tell me what I did wrong. Here we go. M. Limoncello. Nightmare. Where did it go? Mockingjay. Where's it at? Macan. Can I not? Munchmallow. What? On God's green earth? Here it is. Oh, that's why, because it's at the end. Okay. All right. So, let's see here. Let's open up this pedigree. 10 generations. Actually, we don't even need to do 10. Let's do 8. Let's go back. So all of this here. See here, the Cerberus. So I do have Cerberus in here, in my pedigrees. I just don't have like a whole lot of it, if that makes sense. But as you can see here we go. There's Dodani. As you can see here, when we've looked at these pedigrees, let's go back. First of all, let's go to Gavito, which is his father. Let's go to Murano specifically, since people like to talk smack about him. And let's go back 10 generations. So this is an example of why the people who talk smack about like pedigrees, like dogs specifically, don't know what they're talking about. Because if you look through this dog's pedigree, it's the exact same stuff that is in everyone else's pedigrees. It's not different. You're not avoiding Sanguine Magnifica by not breeding to Sanguine Magnifica. Because Sanguine Magnifica is the same thing that everybody else has. Because it's all the same. Okay? Everybody has their unknowns. You know what I mean? Everybody has their unknowns. You can see here, it's all the same stuff. All the same stuff. So that's why it's really silly. That's why I just, those people that talk about not having certain stuff in your life, avoid certain lines, you can't. You cannot avoid lines in Corso. It's all the same stuff. It's all related. And that's why if we really did have the problems that people claim we do in the breed, you would see them a lot more than you do because of how related they are. But I will say that's why you should not be doing a bunch of line breeding and inbreeding off these dogs. I mean, you can line breed, but you need to be very careful about it because you're not outcrossing the way you think you are. Let's just say that. And so anyway, so I'm really trying very hard to educate myself on the lines and on type and on the breed. And I've been doing that by basically becoming familiar with the lines and the pedigrees and this and that. And I think that we couldn't have survived off Deldrium alone anyway. Like, it's just not possible. We have the dogs that we have, like we have the lines that we have. There's no way around that. Um, like I said, there are things that I like about Cerberus lines. They add a lot of substance. They add a lot of the size that we all like. Um, and and so and what I'll say is that, let's just say that for the naysayers, let's just say that they're right, and that there is Neo in the Cerberus lines. Let's just say that they're right. Well, what I can tell you is that the argument has been made on many occasions that I've seen by Americans, basically saying that, well, the Italian lines are mixed too. They did their own mixing, so it doesn't really matter as far as like what the Americans did here. And what I'll tell you is that those are two very different things. What happened in America was a complete deception. It was a complete deceit. Okay, not all lines, not all American lines are bad. Okay, I want to be very clear on that. A lot of times I think people think that I'm saying that, but as somebody pointed out in my last video, and something I've never been shy about, Kashmir had American lines. Not all American lines are um are are like that. And a lot of them started off good. A lot of the American breeders, they're known for really working with American lines, had a lot of imports. But for whatever reason, people decided to start mixing in other stuff. You know what I mean? The Rottweiler and just the other stuff. And that really messed up the breed type. And it is a completely separate thing than somebody trying to save a breed by breeding in a little bit of, like, doing like what we talked about with the puffins, right? And so you want to see Kashmir's pedigree? Yeah, sure. And so anyway, so I think that what is she? I think that, let's go in. I think it's important to recognize that. So in the same way that, that that we know that, I think even the Chow was like that, or not the Chow. It was what's that wrinkly dog? The Shar-Pei. The Shar-Pei was almost extinct too, and it's my understanding that they also bred stuff in to fix them. And so anyway, so I think that as long as whatever lines you have, whether you have American lines or whether you have European lines or whatever, as long as you're working towards breeding the correct breed type, and you are breeding in, like, let's say, for example, like me, I had this dog Kashmir, right? Everybody knows I love Kashmir, right? Look at these lines. These are predominantly American lines. Now here we go. Here's some European stuff here, right? This is a European. Once you get better at knowing the names, you'll start to see more of it, and even I miss some sometimes. But same thing there. That's European right there. There's Retico, Boulan, all that we were just looking at. Argo. Then we have a bunch of Belmonte here. We've got Saddam here, as we talked about. This is also European right here. European right here. This is all European right here. European stuff. I want to say, let's look at this dog. I'm not sure. Yeah, so this is European stuff. Ooh, what was that picture? I'm gonna go back to that real fast. Gemma looked pretty. Gemma's a pretty girl. All right, so here we go again. We're back into I want to, was it Tor? can't remember. Boulogne. Yes. So that's European. Some of them I'm not as familiar with. Actually, I want to see that dog's head real fast. I just never have looked at that picture. Okay, yeah. Let's continue on. That's European. Belmonte, Kokomo, Alaric. So that's American. American. ICCF is American. Although it doesn't mean that this could go back to, I don't know, Alaric. Let's see what it goes back to. Yeah, so this is just straight. Until we get here, this is just straight American. Let's see here. Unknown, so that's American. So, there's a pretty good mix of American and Italian as far as where. Oh, gosh. Jesus. Good God. Oh, Lord. We're just going to leave that right there. All right. Cashmere's Pedigree. I'm just saying. And like I said, I'm still using it. You know what I mean? All my foundation stuff is off of that, Blondie is off of that. That means Nirvana is off of that. That means that, Hefe's off of that. Like, I clearly accept the reality that is, what happened with these dogs, right? They're in the AKC, registry now. They're in the papers. They're not going anywhere. But like I said, now that we know what is up, we should be, ethically, we should be selecting for, good God, for correct breed type. Jesus, good God. Oh, it looks just like Seneca. Just like Seneca. Preacher, can I help you, bro? What's up? You outside? Savannah, let Preacher outside. Thank you. Yeah, like I said, I love going through and looking at these pedigrees because, so look at that. There's that brindle pointing there on that dog. I just really love going back. I could spend hours, you guys, which you guys have seen me do on here. See, there's yeah, look at that. That right there. Oh, that Rottweiler. Look at that. Ugh. See, it's just never as bad. Even the stuff that doesn't look as pretty in Europe never looks this bad. I'm just gonna be honest. But then again, like I said, it's a totally different dog. It's a totally different breed. But that doesn't mean, like I said, that you can't save it, right? Because, like I said, I mean, I bred Cashmere, right? And all I did was just select dogs that had, well, first of all, I put her to 100% European male. And then I just selected back from that dogs that had better breed type, right? That's just what I did. And that's what anybody would do. If you were trying to bring them back from the point of extinction, that's what you would do. And so that's what I've been doing. And that's what a lot of people have been doing. And I hope that through doing these videos, we can kind of help, like educate people on that. Yeah. So anyway, I want to open it up to questions. Anybody who's got any questions, um, let me be of service if you've got any questions. And we could just kind of go through and look at some of these. This kennel. You know what we could do? We could look at latest editions, advanced info. No questions, but you have concerns. What are your concerns? Siberian lines, or do you mean Serbian lines? So no, there's no way to pick them out at a genetic level, unfortunately. And I think that that at a certain point, one of the things that I will say is that thank you, Connie Corso, no drooling. Chaotic camping. I think that if you were to try to do that, what you would end up with is you wouldn't have enough genetic diversity. So are the Cane Corso supposed to have wrinkles? They are supposed to have some, but they're not supposed to have a lot. They're supposed to be wrinkling between the eyes. But they're not supposed to be heavily wrinkled dogs. Excuse me, sorry. Let's see here. So yeah, the Serbian lines. So one of the things that I like about the Serbian lines is that the structure of the dogs is really good. They've gotten a lot of that down. One of the things that I don't think they have down is the head types. I've not seen the best head types in Serbia. Some of them are okay. They're not horrible. It's not like they don't ever produce breed type, but from what I've seen, the Italians tend to produce the better heads, and the Serbians tend to produce stronger, bigger, better bodies. Let's see if we can find is it Dell Del Valley? Lord. I did that wrong. I can't remember. Let's just do that. I can't remember how to pronounce it. Oh, come on. Or no, it's probably not Dell. It's like Valley de Lord. That's what it is. De Lord. Oh, come along now. Do I just suck that bad? Dead gummit, Bobby. Okay, I don't mind. All right, here we go. Valley DEI Lord. Okay, my bad. Let's take a look. So Valley de Lord is another line. It's an Italian line. And they usually have better heads. But they're let's see here. They're known for producing really good, like Leon and Yannick Noah. I have Yannick Noah. These are all really fantastic heads. So you have Leon here. His head is pulled a little tight. And you got Yannick Noah, fantastic head. Look at that. Fantastico. I know that was corny. My bad. Thor. Look at that. Oh, let's get closer here. Thor. Good head right there. Black. Good head. And as you can see, it's Deldrium behind him anyway, so, of course. But actually, that's half and half, because this right here, this is Cerberus. So that's actually a half and half dog. But black. good head right there. So they were there. There's still good heads out there. You know what I mean? Even though some people were kind of doing what they wanted, there was still, see, that's really pretty. That dog's really pretty. That has a good head. Mask is not there though. That's actually a straw dog. Some people might say that's a mask, but I mean, not really. But there's a dog in one of my other pedigrees that gorgeous dog, fantastic dog, straw dog. You know, it just is what it is. This one here, it's a good head. And then I can never pronounce this. Genoestui. That's a good head. And then you've got your Mastro, good head, which was off of Simon with a good head. Look at that. So, I mean, they were still out there. Other people still had them. There were still people out there breeding good heads. But like I said, they all go back to the same stuff. Iraq. So I don't know. The Cerberus stuff, I'm going to be honest, it's not my favorite in type. But I mean, the reality of the situation is that that's a good head. Is that mostly is that they have their place too. You know what I mean? And I think that a lot of the size that we all like so much comes from a lot of that stuff. Because I do know that Del Valle de Lord, they're not known for being big dogs. A lot of the Italian lines are not known for really being very big dogs. Warrior, there's Warrior. Warrior's a very, very, very popular dog. There's more Del Valle de Lord. Jones was a very popular dog. Yeah, these are not the biggest. These are not the Mortigan type. You know what I mean? Like, these were not the biggest. Dude. So I'm sorry for those of you that are listening. Preacher is like smacking his lips. He's staring at me. He has his head right next to my laptop and he is smacking his lips. And I don't know that that's the kind of ASMR you guys are looking for, but you got it. Alrighty, so Oscar. See, these are some dogs I haven't seen. I just liked, yeah, see, it's a pretty head. Look at that. I just like to look. And every now and then, like if I see a dog like this, right? Like, well, I don't know about this one. Let's see this one. Well, it's not bad. The ears, that's why what's his name talked about that. Vito talked about it. So Luigi Dorenzo, this is who's behind Del Valle de Lord. I'll probably do a video on them too, because they're very well known. They're another very well known kennel. But anyway, but you can see here the difference in the type. And I just hate to say it, but a lot of people don't like what they call the boxer type, but I'm gonna be honest with you. When you see the best heads in the breed, you often see them accompanied with dogs that lend themselves to be more hyper type. The more you get into those long muzzle, pointy muzzle dogs, you lose the breed type and you can't find it back. It's just it's an issue from what I understand is that, speaking with my mentor about it, is that the long muzzle is genetically dominant. And it's the muzzle of the wolf, right? And it wants to go long. If you leave dogs to their devices to breed how they want, the muzzles will come out and they will get long, just like what you see in what are those dogs? Those dingoes. And really, I mean, just anywhere you ever seen like those, like the dogs that are strays for a really long time in like India and stuff like that, they always end up being these tan dogs. These like, tan dogs with long muzzles. Look at this. So this Faro Olimpo, this is Mona's father. Right here, Faro. And he's off of this dog, which I really like this dog. Look at this. He's beautiful. Fantastic head. And this right here, Deglielmi, as I told you guys before, Deglielmi is Derium. So I'm hoping to get some really good heads in there out of Mona's litter, because it's in there. It's possible. The stuff is in there. In fact, I want to say her sister is his sister Ivanka, I think it is. Yeah, Ivanka Custodinos. Yes. So this right here, this is Mona's pedigree right here. And that dog has a good head. That female's got a pretty decent head. And so we'll see what I get. Oregon Deglielmi. This dog produced a lot of really good heads. Like I said, Deglielmi, that's your same thing. That's your Deldrium, or at least it started off that way. Let me see, Hulk Hogan. Yeah, that dog right there. Really good head. We bought from that kennel, that Del Imperio de Mayo. They were producing some pretty decent heads. Hulk, actually, I believe, has produced some really decent heads, although I'm not a fan of his structure. I'm not a fan of that at all, but he's produced some really good heads. So it's hard with these dogs sometimes, like I said, because so there you go. So there's a good head right there. Neck is short though. Throws the body off. Miss Sharon. That photo looks stretched. It's not bad. There's elements of that are off, for sure, but there are elements that are correct. Yeah, it's just kind of, it's so hard to get the correct breed type. The head, you know what I mean? The bodies, it's whatever. It's Corso, sure. But to get that perfect head, now you see why we covet Deldrium. We covet it because, thank you, Holly, because it's just, you can see how hard it is, even whenever it pops up, how hard it is to keep and maintain. That's not bad. It's so hard. You know what I mean? We really do try, and it's so hard. I wonder what Yannick Noah, I wonder how good his puppies are. He just has the coolest name, too. Oh, I'm not even going to remember where I found it now. I've been looking at too many dang pedigrees. Anyway, but it's been another deep dive into pedigrees, and we're just getting to see other dogs. Morpheus. I always thought he was really pretty in the head. Look at that. Good breed type. See, that's good. A little bit of elements that could be better, but maybe some wideness here. This dog's not undershot. You can tell. See, that's not bad. Still, little elements are off, but not, you still Corso. You know what I mean? Still Corso. Yeah. So anyway, Perla. I just love looking at these early dogs. It's like your blondie type right there. Thing is, like, dogs like that are going to exist. You know what I mean? I mean, they just, Blondie exists, and she's produced fantastic breed type. So I think it's important not to be too judgy of some of the dogs, and also to kind of recognize that what one of the things that Mariana DiCicco talked about was that you need multiple types of dog. You need multiple um, versions of the dog on your property. You can't just have all one kind. And I think that we see that in some of these lines. You know what I mean? Like, I think some of the Cerberus stuff is going too long into long muzzle dogs. You know what I mean? And then you end up with dogs that just don't look anything like they should look, right? And then, oh, there's that dog I was telling you guys about. I just like this dog a lot. And that dog is a straw dog, but still looks like a really just muscular, decent looking dog. And so and then you get people that did preference it, you know what I mean, and they kept the heads, and then you get people that kept the heads but lost the bodies. See, that's not bad. I mean, there's elements of that are not good, but it's very rare that it's supposed to be just all the way like that. Like, you're not supposed to have a like the lip droop, you know what I mean? It's supposed to be all together. Saddam. That dog looked awesome. He just looks to me like a really strong, powerful dog, in my opinion. The structure's not great, but it wasn't going to be with these early dogs. Look at that Congo. See, I will just be flipping through. Look at that. Fantastic breed type. Fantastic. And what I've done sometimes when I go through pedigrees is I'll find, one of the things I like to do is I'll go through, and let's say that I find a dog that I like that's got really good breed type, and I like that dog, and so I'll just keep following it forward, and I'll keep looking through the pedigree and finding dogs that I like, that I think maintained that breeding type through. And I'll try to find them present. See, that's not bad right there. That dog actually had a good head. And I'll try to each time I'll go in, okay, this dog had children. Well, where's this dog's children? And look at this. This is from 2009. You know what I mean? 2009, this dog was bred. Not horrible, not bad right there. Let's see. Was this dog bred? Yep, this dog was bred too. Boom. 2013. Right? And you can literally just go up. Boom. 2015. And granted, not very, and it ended there, right? So sometimes it ends, which, let's just be honest, that actually wasn't bad that it did end, because we were losing breed type. So brothers and sisters, nope. Burba, that dog looks really pretty. That's Cerberus. Children, Congo. Children, this is 2013. Gotten a little farther away from our breed time. Children, Penelope, 2014. Boom, ends there. And so you'll just have that. Sometimes it'll just do that. But nonetheless, sometimes you can find stuff. And I've actually found breeders. It's funny because I'll be talking to a mentor of mine, and I'll be mentioning, and then they'll tell me, oh yeah, they know who that breeder is, but they quit breeding, so and so ago, and it just sucks. I wish that people, I don't know. I don't think that it's not that they don't realize, you know what I mean? They probably do realize. They probably just get old and don't have the time anymore. But when a line is gone, it's gone. And I will say that does suck. 2007. Oh, no, there was a 2011 down there. But for me, it doesn't bother me to find a dog that look at that. See, that's not even a big dog. A lot of the times these dogs with the bigger head, with the better heads, they're not the biggest dogs. And See, that's not bad. That breed type's not bad. Those eyes are really pretty. Children, look, 2015. Ooh, look, not bad. That dog's got great breed type. 2017. This dog actually should still be alive. Was it a female? Did we say it's a female? Looks like a female. Are we a female? Yes, female. So not breeding anymore for sure. Ended with that dog. Yep, ended with that dog. But one of the things you can do too is when you like something a breeder has, like let's say you notice that and you're like, well, let's see. You can look at that person and then either look up what they've got, or you can even just go and try to find them on Facebook, and just that's another way you can find lines and pedigrees and stuff is you look up, the dog and then you look up that person and try to find that stuff. And when you're competitive and you're really looking for the best stuff, sometimes it pays to do that, man. Like this dog, I really like him. If I could find something, I mean, granted, obviously Faro Olimpo, I mean, having his grandson, you know what I mean? Or his granddaughter is like obviously a good thing, and we don't see his structure either. That's another thing is what does his body even look like, But, having said that, so there's a 2019. So anyway, so it's just something you can do, something I highly recommend doing. It gets you accustomed to the lines. It gets you accustomed to the breed type, and you can start to learn how, like a lot of the early pedigrees I wouldn't do this with because they don't make much sense, which is why a lot of people question them. But but for example, see how pretty that dog is. It's a beautiful dog. Looks very much like Velocity. Looks very much like this new Velocity female that I've got. And so anyway, yep. See, look at that head. That's a good head right there. And so anyway, so if you are a person that is really trying to do your best to breed the best lines, it'll do you some good to go through and look at all these dogs and really get familiar with them and get familiar with the breed type, and you can kind of start to piece together how people are producing what they're producing. And it doesn't mean one of the things that you're going to want to do and you're going to have to stop yourself from doing because it's a really common, ooh, look at that. Beautiful dog. Fantastic dog. Beautiful breed type. Beautiful breed type. Look at that. Not too much roundness here. Notice how the slope is not too much. But there is right here, you get this is called the stop. Not too long of a muzzle, not too short. Beautiful dog. Gorgeous dog. Cal 2 means that he's got a working title already. 2015. HDA hips. Fantastic hips. Degrassi. Ah. Oh, no wonder. So I met this guy, Degrassi. Although that's not the name I remember. But maybe it's a different Degrassi in Israel. Maybe it's a different Degrassi, but it may be pronounced differently or something like that, or maybe it is the same person. But anyway, I met a breeder in Europe that had his kennel was but I think it's pronounced differently. But anyway, see, like now I'm really interested. Now I'm really interested in this dog. I'm gonna be like, okay. This guy has been used a lot Wish we could see his structure. See, it's not bad. Good top line, decent top line. Could use a little bit better turn to stifle, but not a bad dog. Interesting. Oh, Spirit Guardian. Ah. I like him. Okay. Well. Huh. We'll find out more about this dog. Looks like he's a reproductive champion. Yeah, my bad, y'all. I'm moving. Yeah, this is fun for me. This is fun for me. This is just like, see, right now, like if I wasn't here with you guys, I would literally go on a whole, like, I would start I would call Reese, send her the link. We would start researching this dog, figuring out who owns him, if he's still alive or not, who's got the lines here in the States, or if anybody does. We would put out the search. We would be just pounding the ground, trying to figure out everything that we could find out about this dog. Ooh, they used him on Del Imperio de Maya. Anyway, very interesting. Specifically, I would want to look at pictures. Beautiful dog, man. Just something about his face, too. He just looks... He reminds me of Preacher. He just looks very confident and, like, knowing. Just, like... Anyway. Yeah, I like that a lot. Huh. Well, well, I just wanted to show you guys this stuff, and yeah, I'm gonna get off the stream. It's late. It's almost 11 o'clock, and so you guys should get to bed. I'm trying to get to bed earlier. I'm trying to be more productive with my days and not be such a night owl. So yeah, so it's something I'm working on. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Like I said, it's a little different thing, but I was trying to get something out for you guys. It's been raining all day and I haven't been able to get a video. It really sucks when it rains like this. I just can't do anything. So, like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have any other questions, anything like that, give me a little holler, say a little something, say something, say something to your girl. So, anyway, y'all have a good day, and I'm gonna talk to y'all later. Okay? Goodbye.